it's Nikki, and welcome to another vlog. So this was voted on in the Facebook group. So this is going to be a what I eat in a day. It's technically what I eat in like 2 days. I ended up doing 2 days worth. So I am currently vegan. I have been vegan now for maybe about 2 months. Was vegan a while ago for about 8 or 9 months, and I just find that I personally feel better when I eat this way. This is not me telling anybody else how to eat. I don't need anybody telling me that I shouldn't be doing it. This is just what I do. So the first thing you guys saw I started out with was coffee. I do just drink coffee black, so that is no issue. What I'm doing right here is making breakfast, and this is one of my favorite breakfasts. I would say that I eat this probably 6 out of 7 days of the week. So what I'm doing is just a either a whole wheat toast, or I like to do like a grain toast as well, if that makes like the seeded, sprouted type. You guys know what I'm saying. I like to do one of those, and then I will take peanut butter, and then I like to do strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. Sometimes I'll do bananas. I just kind of like cut them up and put them on top, and it is really yummy. So this is one of my favorite breakfasts. I also want to put in that, if you don't watch me normally, I do run a lot, and I also walk with Oz. I sometimes run with Oz a lot. So I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know that I'm correct here, but I try to eat a decent amount of carbs just because I do run pretty far. So anyway, moving on to lunch for day one. This is another one of my favorites. It's pretty simple. This is just, actually that's the bread that I normally get, this seeded bread right here. It is grilled cheese. So I get the seeded bread. This one is from Trader Joe's. I also like the Ezekiel bread a lot. I use the Daya cheddar slices, which I really like. I think they're very good. The Vegenaise is actually the garlic aioli kind, and I could eat it by the spoonful, which is really strange to me because I don't really like mayonnaise at all. And then I have the Earth Balance butter, which is just a vegan butter. So what I like to do is just kind of put some of the butter on the toast. I'll put the Vegenaise on the other side. I hope I'm saying that right. And then pop it into a pan, put the Daya in the center. I do 1.5 slices of it because I find 2 slices is just too much. I don't like a ton of it in there. And then I also will be making some of that tomato soup that I showed a second ago. I had a little bit of a problem finding a tomato soup that did not have any milk in it, but this one didn't. I believe I ended up finding this at Publix. But this is just one of my favorite meals to make, especially during the work week when it's just something really simple and easy to put together. I will also say that generally if I eat toast for breakfast, which like I said is most of the time, I will not eat a sandwich for lunch. That's just a lot of bread. But whatever was going on here this day, there's been a lot happening with the shop. This is quick, this is easy. I do eat a lot of like quinoa, vegetables mixed in with quinoa, a lot of fresh fruit, which also didn't really make it into this video. You can see me eating fruit with my meals. As far as snacks, I don't do a ton of snacking, but when I do, I keep a lot of like apples, bananas, oranges, grapefruits, stuff like that, and that's normally what I'll grab and just kind of eat. I didn't think about it when I was filming this to kind of like show any time that I was eating something like that. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite meals, and I did just kind of like squeeze the sandwich a little bit so you guys can see. This cheese melts pretty nicely. Obviously it's not going to have the effect like normal cheese, but for a vegan cheese, it is nice and melty, and it tastes really good. So for dinner, I'm going to be making one of my favorite meals. This is a favorite meal of mine that can be done regular or vegan. It's very easy to switch this over, which is what I've done here. So what I've got is some penne. I have got a spice mix, onion, garlic, zucchini. As far as the spice mix goes, this recipe is actually originally something I found from HelloFresh, and it was just really easy to recreate, but that is a spice blend that they have. If anybody is interested, let me know and I will link it over for you. But basically this is just a pasta that is very spicy. I like to make it a little bit spicier than what it technically could be. I also use a marinara that's a bit spicier, as well as a Parmesan cheese substitute. This was my first time using this cheese, and I actually tasted a little bit, and it is wonderful. I really enjoy this. Britton of Bean Sprout Paper Co. Actually recommended this cheese to me. This is the second time that I've made this meal vegan. The first time I did not make it with the Parmesan, and the second time I did. Either way, it was fine for me, but moving on. The first thing I'm going to do here is just brown this zucchini. I love zucchini. It's one of my favorites. And this is a really like hearty filling pasta. All of the vegetables are just amazing in it. It's got that little kick to it. If you guys want a recipe, let me know. I change things. I'm not good at following a recipe. I like to tweak it, but I can kind of give you guys like a general what to do. So after I browned that zucchini, I went ahead and threw in some onion as well as that spice blend. Gonna keep cooking that until everything gets nice and soft. And then I added just a little bit of salt and pepper. I had my noodles cooking. I went ahead and drained those. Put in my marinara. In a perfect world, this marinara would obviously be made by me, but I don't have time for that. So adding in my penne, adding in another tablespoon of that spice mix because I like this like really spicy. Stirring all of that together and letting it heat through, and then I'm going to be putting it into the oven. This does get broiled for, I did like 5 minutes I want to say, and it was just a bit too long. It's a little bit too brown on the top, but I don't mind that. So for the topping, I just take panko breadcrumbs, which are my favorite, some of that Parmesan cheese substitute, and I just did olive oil, mixed that up, put it all over the top, and then popped it in the oven for about 5 minutes. This is not the fastest meal, but I want to say it takes like 35 minutes at the most, which isn't bad, and it makes enough for me to eat for lunch the next day, possibly also dinner the next day. But yeah, so I love this. This is one of my absolute favorites. I do know that I'm showing a lot of carbs in this video, but again, on days that I like can run and my knee isn't bothering me, I'm running about 6 miles. So for me personally, I find that that works, that I feel good, that it helps me with that. Again, not a nutritionist. I don't know if I'm even doing well for myself here. I know that I feel great, but I'm not telling anybody else how to eat. So there it is. It is wonderful. Moving on to day 2. So this is something I like to do depending. It depends on how hungry I am. Generally, I will do this just because I am trying to get in as many like vitamins as I can, and yeah, so this is a smoothie. Obviously, I don't think I said that. I'm going to throw in a banana. I'm going to throw in a bunch of baby spinach, some mixed fruit. We're going to do some almond milk, chia seeds, and I think maybe a little bit of water. It just kind of depends on what the consistency is looking like. So when I do this, I put it into the mason jars that I drink out of. They're bigger. They're not, I think they're actually intended to be used as like a cup because they dip in the sides. They are from Target. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll make a decently large smoothie. I will pour it into 2 of those cups, and I'll go ahead and seal one and put it in the fridge for the next day. I don't always drink a full one anyway, so sometimes this will actually make 3 servings for me. Again, it depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on how far I ran the day before. And yeah, so that is one thing that I like to do as well. This is not, for me at least, this is not a breakfast replacement. I'm still going to have an actual breakfast. So next, let's make a tofu scramble. So this is just some stuff I had. I had some bell peppers and I had some onions, so I went ahead and chopped all of that up. This tofu is from Trader Joe's. I like tofu. I don't mind the texture and I don't mind the taste as long as it's seasoned correctly and it's cooked correctly. So I like to slice mine really thin, and then I went ahead and I heated some avocado oil in a pan. You guys can see that here. And then I'm just going to throw it in. I like it really crispy, so it's going to look kind of burnt, but that's just the way that I personally like it. I also like it cut very thin, which is another thing that you can see that I cut it pretty thin. I am going to end up breaking this up into crumbles, and that's another thing I should mention. I'm the only one eating this food, so if you see me like touching it or like I'm about to break all of this up with my hands, that's why. Nobody else is eating this but me. Also, and I wash my hands like 50 times a day. From working in the medical industry, like I wash my hands constantly while I'm cooking. I did go ahead and throw the other half of that bag of spinach in here as well, and here you guys can see I did some salt, some pepper, just a little bit of seasoning, and this was absolutely delicious. It is a great egg substitute in my opinion. I'm not really a fan of eggs, but as far as just having something in the vegetables with like just a little extra flavor, I love it. I think it's wonderful. So moving on to lunch for this day, I am going to make a veggie burger. These are from Trader Joe's. They are like Thai sweet chili, I believe. Really, really, really good. And this is not a soy-based product. This is a vegetable-based product, a bunch of different veggies in here. So I did a sesame seed bun, and then you guys will see I just put a sauce on here that's like a teriyaki type sauce. And then there's an apple there as well. I had an apple with it. Like I said, I like to just grab fruit throughout the day if I am hungry. I have days that I am really hungry all day and I eat a lot, and then I have days that I just am not very hungry. So it just kind of depends on the day. Okay, let's move on to my all-time favorite meal, which I've made vegan, which I'm very happy with it. So this is bulgogi, which is like Korean barbecue. I think that technically it's supposed to be made with like a flank steak, but I've always made it with ground beef. Obviously, I am not going to have that, but the Beyond Beef works out really nicely, and it tastes so good, you guys. The texture and everything is just spot on. Again, this is not a soy-based product. Beyond Meat is a pea protein isolate. I do eat soy-based products as well. Well, you just saw the tofu. I don't think that there's anything wrong with either. I'm sure it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but I do think that the ones that are more vegetable-based are probably a bit better. So I went ahead and took a peeler to that cucumber. I put it in some white vinegar as well as some sugar to kind of like do a quick pickling of the cucumber. Next, I have got some ginger here that I'm going to go ahead and grate. I'm also going to dice the scallion, which that scallion as well as the ginger, and then some spices that I'm about to pull out in a second will all go into the meat as it's cooking. So this is my all-time favorite meal for sure. This is another meal though that I cooked before, and then after being vegan for a bit thought this has to be pretty simple to make this vegan. The only thing in here that needed to be replaced is that meat, so simple switch. I have tried making this with a like meat crumble substitute that was soy-based, and I was not such a fan. But anyway, so what I'm going to do next, I want to make some carrots for my side, so I've got my carrots and my cucumbers. So I just throw a little bit of olive oil in a pan, salt and pepper, and I'm just going to stir these around until they're just a little bit soft. And then I didn't show it, but basically what goes into this other than the spices is sesame oil. That is what you're going to cook the meat in, and then I like to add in some more after. And then you're going to use coconut aminos as well as some fish sauce, which I know sounds so weird, but I promise that this tastes amazing. The other thing that I do is I add sugar into mine. I know that that's not the best thing, but I like mine really sweet, and I find that it gives it just such a good taste. I am also making white rice to go with this. You guys will see that there at the end. But yeah, so I think that's everything that's in it. Again, I have tweaked this recipe so much that I don't know if I'd even want to try to link it, just because what I do to it now is totally different. But yeah, I think that's it. So this was my dinner, and that is what I ate over the past 2 days. I hope you guys liked watching this. Like I said, it was voted for in the Facebook group. I like videos like this, so I thought that maybe it could be fun to watch. If you guys would like to see any more kind of like cooking videos or what I eat videos, you guys can let me know down in the comments below. Again, I am not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. This is just what I do. I'm not recommending this for anybody else. I just prefer to eat this way, and I find that I personally feel much better when I do. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.